Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Phil Carew Show 2.0. I have owner and former editor of the Martial Arts Illustrated, Bob Sykes. Welcome to the Phil Carew Show 2.0, Bob.
Thank you very much, Phil. I came on your show. I've been invited on loads. I haven't really, but in martial arts I was to a degree, but stepped back from it for a long time. You know, you can hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay, sorted. Go on, fire away with some questions anyway. The last guy you were on earlier today, I watched him. He was quite interesting.
Oh, yes, in the previous episode, Gareth Riddy. Yes, he's a very interesting guy. He's a fellow martial artist in the BJJ Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world. He's just recently been awarded his black belt on there to be able to sort of, as well, roll a bit more with more of the advanced sort of area of the Jiu-Jitsu world. It did mention that, you know, it thought it'd be able to go easy on him on there, but no, more people have gone in for him, which to be expected.
Tough old game. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. No. What I'd like to ask you as well, Bob. I'm, like I said, you know, I'm truly honoured and humbled to have you on. When in regards to martial arts, how did you actually get into martial arts? You know, because a lot of the time, you know, you must get people in the past. You know, even you probably get it now. You know, what age did you start? I'm not going from, you know, like that initial process now. You know, where I always go for the formal bit on there. I'm coming from a different approach. So yeah, how did you come about martial arts, or rather than just?
It was just a friend of mine who said, "Come down to the club." It's a long story, so I won't bore people to death. But I was about 15, and went down. I've always wanted to do martial arts. Always been interested in it. You know, like I used to watch Kung Fu and what was the New Avengers at the time.
Of course, yeah.
It was fantastic. I still watch some of the old ones on YouTube. They're quite funny. It really dated, but you know, I was mystified about how, you know, somebody smaller could defeat somebody bigger. You know, you always get mixed about. He'd had a lot of fights, didn't, you know, lost more than I won when I was at school, but because I was a bit smaller, but I didn't like being pushed about, so I'd bite back and I'd fight, but get beat up sometimes. And so I wanted to sort of, not just for fighting, but I just wanted to do it. I saw some karate guys running through my village once in bare feet when I was playing out as a kid, and I followed them. They were doing a barefoot run and some karate training, and I watched them and I thought, I wish I could be like that, you know. And so I went along. You know, my mate Patrick, who ended up doing taekwondo and became a top psychiatric nurse of West Yorkshire, he's in charge of the lot at the moment, got me into it. And yeah, he thinks I'm mad now, but the thing is, I've been doing it ever since. But go on, next question.
Yeah, in regards to that, I know, because like a lot of the times, you know, on my show, I get authors, actors, and sort of fellow martial artists. With yourself, you know, what got you into actually wanting to get a book about your life? Because I know I've noticed I did a little bit of my homework, and even speaking to you yourself, you know, personally behind the camera, you know, and off the show, about the Journeyman. You know, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I did that. It took me 2 weeks to knock it together. What happened? A friend of mine said, I know a guy in Indonesia, he's had a book pull out. If you could put a book together, Bob, in 2 weeks, I can get it printed in Indonesia, 8,000 copies. And I wasn't well at the time, so I wanted to leave something for my son because I didn't think I was going to make it. I went down to about 7 stone, and everybody thought I would have gone. And so I put this book together. I didn't even think I'd be around to see it get printed. But I bounced back, as people do. And that was it, basically. It was just something I put together for my son to have something to remember me by, you know, because, you know, that was it. He was only 7 at the time. And that's basically it in a nutshell.
Wow.
2008.
Goodness. Wow. In regards as well to martial arts overall, how did Paul? I know you got close links with Paul Barnett. And that. How did you meet Sensei Paul Barnett?
Paul. Paul's fantastic. I mean, he said you did an interview with him last week, and he was very good on the interview. I mean, he just comes across so well, doesn't he? He's such a professional guy. Possibly one of the only people who could physically work with me for so long and keep working with me. I think I don't know how he puts it with me sometimes, but he's just fantastic. He does most of the stuff for the show. He doesn't let me interfere much, including on the day. He holds the mic and he's on the stage. I'm just in the background, skulking around. That's it, basically. Paul's fantastic. He's just done absolutely brilliant with the Hall of Fame. So the UK Martial Arts Show, as it is, as far as I'm concerned, he just keeps me in there because I was in there at the beginning, but I've always said, well, it's your show, this, what do you put up with me for? But it's just got a thing that's quite rare in martial arts these days. It's called loyalty. And I helped put it together with him, with the magazine, back in the day when the magazine was popular. And basically, I'm still there doing it.
With the actual magazine itself, what got you the idea of putting Martial Arts Illustrated together? Because, there's been other magazines in the past that you've probably noticed over time, where you've got like something similar to like Combat, Black Belt magazine, and then you had a different approach to it with your own kind of twist to it with Martial Arts Illustrated.
Yeah, I don't know if I did have a different approach. What I did, I copied basically off Combat. Combat was the magazine at the time, and brilliant magazine. I always bought Combat. I always bought all the magazines, mate. Actually, this is no lie. Reading martial arts magazines taught me to read because I couldn't read, and properly. I wasn't very good at reading. Really bad at writing. And I started reading martial arts magazines because I was actually interested in them. And I used to buy the Fighters magazine, the Combat magazine, the K.
Fighters, Combat,
Karate and Oriental Arts came up. It was a bi-monthly. Fighting Arts, I think that was bi-monthly as well. Terry O'Neill's magazine. So there was 4 magazines out at the time. And I thought, I'm going to open some martial arts centres, and when I make a load of money, I'm going to start a magazine. Well, the guy who was helping me start a martial arts academy twigged on to what I was saying, and we got a few people together, and we basically started the magazine at the same time as I opened an academy, the first karate club full-time centre in Huddersfield at the time. So there's me. I launched a martial. I was on the door for 7 years before this, just fighting in competitions. And it was after fighting Cash Gill in Nottingham, and I lost. It was for the British PK title. And I took a bit of a battering. I mean, Cash is a good fighter. I fought well, but hats off to him. He beat me, battered me. And he splattered me, absolutely splattered me. But I enjoyed the fight. It was a really big fight. So I think it was one of the top full contact fights of that year, 86 in Nottingham. There were about 1,000 people turned up to watch us. And I'd been winding him up constantly, and because I was doing the Wing Chun War thing at the time, we won't mention the Wing Chun Wars. Don't mention the Wing Chun Wars. I'm off already. I came back and this is in 86. I was on the door. I just put it out there. I'm going to do a martial arts magazine. I didn't have any qualifications. I wasn't very good at. I couldn't really write a letter properly. You know what I mean? Within 2 years of putting it out, we had a magazine on the shelf.
God, wow.
Power of the mind.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
You know, we'll have to see.
God. Right, and also, in regards to the sort of magazine itself, what was it like in regards to having the people that you were interviewing? Did you ever get a chance to spar with any of them as well, with the actual interviewees?
This is funny. I mean, I didn't realise at the time because I used to compete a lot and fight and want to fight everybody. I don't know if I had a little man syndrome or something, but when people used to come up for the magazine shoots at the beginning, I used to say, bring your pads and we'll do some sparring. Now, listen, I wasn't that good, okay? I just did a few competitions and fought a few good people. But it went round the martial arts community for some reason. Some people just want to be in a magazine to promote themselves, don't they? You know? And they said, in order to get into MAI, you had to spar with Oss Sykes. That went round. I didn't know this was going round. I heard about this later. And they thought I was some sort of nutchat. But, you know, I genuinely wanted to spar people. That's what but I think after a few years of doing the magazine, I lost the mental edge on the martial arts, you know, and I didn't quite, I wasn't as sharp as maybe I would have been in my 40s because I was doing the magazine, running the centre, and you're not training 3 times a day like you was previously, you know. So,
of course.
Yeah, that's it. I can elaborate on, you know.
Oh wow, yeah. And you mentioned before that you get a lot of people that get onto the magazine in the past tense. What was it like when you actually, after having sort of contact with them, possibly like maybe on the phone and emails and letters and stuff like that? But when you actually meet them in person, what was it like? Like for example, like Jean-Claude Van Damme and like the Scott Adkins and.
Well, I never met Scott. Scott used to write me letters telling me he was going to be famous when he was a kid, and you get a letter from Scott every other week. I mentioned this to him, but he said I think he was writing to lots of people saying he was going to be famous, putting it out there. You know, the Lord of Attraction sort of stuff. I don't know if that all works.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Careful what you wish for. That's what I say now. But he used to write to the magazine. I should have kept the letters. I used to get a lot of people like Van Damme lookalikes and people like some really weird people. I'd go to the office and I'd have a pile of letters most days. And I'd sort through my letters. And, it's like mad. You know what I mean? Before emails, this is before emails. There were no emails when we started MAI. It was letters.
Yeah.
We had a little typewriter in the office and everything had to get typeset. So, how you doing, Ryan? Give Ryan a wave. He said, hey. And that's it, basically.
All right.
Then computers came in and Apple Mac and things started getting designed on Apple Mac computers. But before that, it was all on big drawing boards in the graphic design room. We had a few people there. And it was all copy and paste. Even the text had to get typeset. So when we had to type everything out, I just scribbled it down on a bit of paper. Somebody called Moira Spencer, she basically was the backbone of the magazine back then. She did all the work. Used to sort of make it sound like somebody intelligent had wrote it. And then send it off to the typesetters. It came back from the typesetters and they'd stick it on these boards next to the photos in the graphic design place, and it gets sent off then. Then computers came in, so it was all designed on computers. And now it'd be quite easy to knock a magazine together because, it's just technology. It's just a PDF, isn't it? Let's be quite honest.
Yes.
And most magazines now are just PDFs, so they're also just online, so they're not exactly tangible magazines anymore, they're just PDFs.
Well, yeah, that's true. In regards to your contacts, did you have to travel quite a lot in sense of being able to interview the people for the
Everybody
magazine?
Everybody
Came to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even Van Damme, although we did have a studio in London at that time, something Bay Logan put together. Bay was previously editor of the Combat magazine, and he was a brilliant writer and a very intelligent guy. And Bay was in the process of leaving Combat and jumping on board with us when we started that Impact magazine, the movie magazine.
Wow.
And he had this photo shoot and says, "Bob, I've got Van Damme. Would you like to come down?" So I went down. I'd not seen a Van Damme film then. He'd had Bloodsport out.
Yes.
And No Retreat, No Surrender. He'd been in that.
That's it, yeah.
Launching Kickboxer, which I went down to the premiere of Kickboxer, but I was after meeting him. And to be honest, I didn't even know who he was. And we didn't take him too seriously. But he was a nice guy. Really, really nice guy. And he was, I don't think he didn't deserve us. We had a few competitors went down, arrogant competitors back then. We thought we knew it all. But Van Damme, very nice, humble guy, really, really pleasant guy, and very accommodating. To say, he was like soon to be blasted out into mainstream as, the next Bruce Lee, so to speak,
Yeah. God, wow, no, that was amazing.
Putting Van Damme on the cover saved his magazine in the early days because we weren't selling as many as Combat. Then we started putting Van Damme and Bruce Lee on, and all of a sudden we overtook Combat. We said never admit to all the fact we did, but we're selling about 20,000 copies a month with about 10K's worth of advertising in there.
God.
At its peak.
Oh, wow. Did you ever get a chance or even have the opportunity with having any sort of close links to Shannon Lee, the Bruce Lee daughter?
No. We did. Funny thing is, we had a guy called Andy Stanton, a Bruce Lee fanatic. And he used to bring all the Bruce Lee stuff. He did column cut, finger pointing, and Andy was a Bruce Lee man. And we got him on box. We got all the transparencies, so I could put Bruce on the cover. If you put Bruce on the cover, you'd sell maybe 5,000 or 6,000 more copies than you would if you just put a regular martial artist on the cover. The best, So we put Bruce on a lot. Sometimes Bruce and Van Damme, and that'd be a good seller. But we had Brandon on the cover the same month as when he died. That was a coincidence. We had a Brandon Lee cover, and he actually died making that film the same month we had him on the cover. It was in February, I think. And I think it's just an anniversary, hasn't it, of Brandon's death, which was a real shame because, he would have done. I mean, and that's all of the mysteries, and let's be quite honest. No, let's be quite honest. Let's not go too deep, Bob. Let's not go too deep.
Yeah.
No, don't go too deep, Bob. just keep it shallow. You know what I mean? Please. Don't mention anything classified.
Did you ever try any other sort of fighting arts as well as the Wadaroo karate that you were doing?
I did ever try Wadaroo. I just did the kickboxing, the freestyle, the Thai boxing, a bit of Thai boxing. That hurt too much. Stick fighting. That way we did a bit of cross training and grappling sort of stuff. When that came in the late 90s, but I think I was a bit late jumping on board with that. Basically, Little Clash of the Titans, wasn't it? My bad, Clash of the Titans, the show I actually invented and fought on. So,
Wow. That's amazing. It's like in regards to all the sort of setup on this.
Not amazing, but go on.
Oh well, no. But for the outsiders on there looking in, it must take quite a lot of work to do. Like Paul and yourself, when when you're doing all this, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background as well as the foreground. You know, to make arrangements, contact people, making sure everyone turns up. You know, who they would say,
Oh, just,
you know, to promote.
You're talking about the UK martial arts show now.
Yes.
Right. That's why I should have sent you my book before this interview, so you could have done more research. You know, but you're interviewing too many people. I don't know how you do it. Your mind will be more mashed than mine was. The show, Paul organised most of the show. I've just got to get the mats across there at the moment for the stage, and get what's his name? That guy called that Wing Chun guy coming from Belgium, Mike Stats, is it?
Mike Stats, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to make sure he gets picked up from the airport. That's all, and turn up to the show, and book into my hotel.
Wow.
And normally there's always a bit of confusion there because I never have any ID with me. Have you got ID? They go, oh, yeah, ID. You know what you need ID for? And me. I should have a little I and a D like the guy off Audit in Britain does. Seen it.
Oh dear, I'm loving this interview, Bob. I always knew I was going to enjoy this interview.
Really?
Right.
Cool.
For those who are not quite sure about what else Bob does, as well as a fellow martial artist, we were talking in terms of like Reiki. Now, Reiki, how did you get involved in Reiki, Bob?
How long have you got? It was a guy called Lance Lewis. He was going back to when I was ill. I was doing a lot of. I used to box with Lance. Lance used to train at the Funk in Detroit, and he was working in Huddersfield. So 3 times a week we trained together. And Lance was the best kickboxer this country ever had, in my opinion. Maybe Brian Seabright as well, and Ronnie Green. That's my opinion. Okay? Lance trained at the Kronk with Thomas Ernst in America, the first Englishman ever to train there. And you know, he was very good at professional boxing and kickboxing. So anyway, it was Ace when he came to Huddersfield because he'd do a bit of training with me, you know. And, you know, I always want to look. If I could just have 10% of what Lance had, I thought I'd be over the moon. And every time we boxed together, at the end, we'd do some Qigong. And I thought, I'll do the Qigong because, you know, Lance is showing it me and he'll just keep teaching me the boxing. So anyway, it's a long story. I've got lots of encounters with Qigong guys. And when I was ill, I thought I'm going to start getting onto the Qigong a bit more because I was burnt out. I was literally burnt out. Working, doing the magazine, fighting in competitions, with teaching. It nearly killed me. And training 3 times a day. I was training I was going 15-mile runs. I was sparring all the professional boxers. You know, I was just wanting to do everything, but you can only do so much and you burn out, and that's what happened with me. I physically burnt out. And when I was getting into the Qigong, Lance mentioned Reiki, and I said, Reiki? And he said, yeah, Reiki, you need to get into Reiki. And I didn't really, I thought, I'll do it because Lance has told me to do it, but I didn't really want to do it. So I got into Reiki. And all of a sudden, after doing a couple of attunements with these people who'd been attuned under Unshe, these are quite special people. You see, the thing is, when you've got the contacts, you can meet the real ones, not the flaky Reiki.
Exactly, yeah.
Real ones. I could feel like magnetic pulls in my hands and fingers.
Yes.
What most people, scientists, would describe as electrons. It just describes them as electrons or something like that now, wouldn't they? Electromagnetic field or something like that. So let's just call them electrons. Let's not go into orders or all, just blow people's minds. So I could feel these electrons, and I could see like these cobwebs coming off my arms when I'm doing the Qigong. And I got into it from there because it was tangibly real to me. And now that's basically what I do. I just attune people to Reiki. That's it.
Wow. Must have felt quite good though. It's like, where you see a lot of these martial arts where like even the Chinese and the Japanese when they do the martial arts, whereas the you feel the energy of when you're actually using the full force of it, of like the Japanese would call ki or ki, and then you've got
ki, prana.
That's it.
Electromagneticness.
Or Chinese chi, high force. Yeah. Goodness.
I refer to it as life source energy. It's it's what we are, but most people they just think I'm crackers when I start doing qigong or reiki with. All they want to do is punch a punch bag, learn how to lay somebody out with a punch. But you get harder and harder. You can get harder and harder, but you get harder, you get stronger, you get harder and even stronger, and then you begin to get brittle and you start to break. And you've got to soften. If you don't soften, that's it. You're a goner. And that's what I had to do. I had to soften. And my ego was too big. I was being a prat most of the time. And it just came along and flattened me. So now I'm just this Reiki guy.
Bless you.
You know what I mean? That's it.
Oh.
You're a Reiki guy.
How often do you and Paul do the Martial Arts Hall of Fame Awards? Because I know on some occasions I've noticed that they have it on is it an annual thing or is it like a monthly thing? How does it come out?
Monthly, weekly.
Monthly.
We have one a week. No, we do one at the UK Martial Arts Show, and we sometimes add one in Burton-on-Trent, but they're stopping now because they shut the venue down. So we'll mostly just do one a year. Is enough. I think I don't think people have got wall space for more certificates anyway out there. Let's be honest.
Wall space.
Who's got the wall space? It's good. The Hall of Fame is something that Paul rang me up about. I was doing one at the Clash of the Titans at the end of the show. I'd give these awards like the top fighters and stuff, and Paul just put it together as a separate event when I was doing the magazine. And the first one was massive. I mean, it was mental. And the second one was even bigger. And then there was people at the second, they were sat in the crowd thinking, oh, we can do this. So that sort of diluted it a bit. Back then, I got a bit peed off at people copying and doing their own. But end of the day, it's a compliment if somebody pinches your idea because it means it was a good idea. That's it. Same with magazines and people trying to do magazines and, to start with, it used to annoy me, but then I thought, well, I did the same thing, so live and let live, leave them to it, I can't be bothered anymore. Let's be quite honest with them.
Yeah, no, fair play. I think you've done well, considering the time scale, you've done all of that, all in the amount of issues that you've done as well, and the amount of people that you managed to get on.
I've got them all here. I picked up all the martial arts magazine binders. I've got the full set, like 350 odd magazines, so that's 350 odd months. And it's a massive pile, you've got piles of magazines. And I look at, you put some of the covers up, and I just scroll down to see what the pictures were. And I've not picked the magazine up and looked at it since we finished it. Even when I pick these binders, I've not flicked through them because it's like flogging a dead horse going back in time. But I looked at the covers you put up, and I can remember doing every single one of those issues and seeing them come back from print. It took me a month to do a mag, and then it comes back from print and you smell them because it smell new. And I used to look forward to them coming back from print. And I'd always take a few copies home, which I've got loads knocking about here. And that's it. And you miss it when it's gone. I thought, oh, what's happened? I'm not Bob Sykes editor anymore. Identity crisis time. But I got used to it, and I'm actually glad I'm actually glad I'm not doing it, because it used to, without me realising, it used to take a lot of my time up. Every Sunday evening, I'd be writing, stuff to take into the mag, I had to take it in, and sometimes you're writing an editorial, you've got writer's block, what do I write about this month? And it's quite hard sometimes. Who do I put on cover this month? There are loads of people always ringing me up to put them on the cover. I had loads of mates back then, remember? Loads of mates. Phone never stopped. Nowadays, look at this, Nokia. This rings about once every 2 weeks. Now, it used to ring every 5 minutes. He's so quiet. Thank you.
Oh, Bob, I love this. Also, in regards to sort of people that have sort of commented on there, because I mentioned, I think they did I think it was USA, and there was a gentleman that commented previously in regards to, I think it was Martial Arts Illustrated, part of the article on there that mentioned. Now, I think it was regarding. That's it. Yeah, it was regarding yourself, and I think it was them, and I think it was part of the USA team in Texas. Yeah. Now, I think in regards to that, I think they mentioned that they may have been in the article there, or even on one of the covers with what you put yourself in there in the Texas. Do you remember that at all? The USA team. I think they remembered.
You're talking 350 issues, all right. To remember every article, if I looked at the comment, it'd ring a bell. I'll check the comment later and get back to him. What's it on the Facebook? Is it?
Yeah, it's on the one that when I posted it up about yourself, and then they mentioned. Oh, that's it. Treb Droff. They said I've been looking for MAI magazine that done a feature on Chip Wright, who is Chuck Norris' stand-in for Texas Walker Ranger, and one of his senior instructors in Chuck's association. I hosted the USA team in Scotland and sent the article Bob included in MAI black and white pic of me fighting USA. Wow.
Isn't it? I can remember that one now. I can remember it. Or can I? I don't know. I just get flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get mixed up with other flashbacks. I can't do with flashbacks.
What's the most memorable
flashbacks I can cope with? But go on.
What's the most memorable part of the last part of of being the former editor of Martial Arts Illustrated? There must have been sort of one of those moments where you thought, like you said, this identity thing, and now it's like, well, I'm still part of that. The spirit of Martial Arts Illustrated is there, but you're no longer doing the publishing and editing in regards to that. But what did it feel like? Thinking, right, hang on a minute, what am I going to do now? I'm not doing this. Was you just focusing on your Reiki?
I've done it for 30 years, and we logged, all right, 30 years of martial arts in this country from 1988 all the way to 2018. That's a big chunk. And I've got all the information there, signed documents. And it's all there. Now, I've got loads of magazines in the loft and stuff still, the back issues. People sometimes contact me, so I'll send them an issue and stuff like that. Never seem to charge them, but, I'm not going to, if people start pestering me now for them, I'm not going to bloody well do it, because I'll be down at the post office sending magazines out for me.
No, it's fair enough.
I'm going to take you a book. But anyway, I don't know, you get that. Well, what do I do now? I'm not that anymore, but I run my academy. I'm 61 next. I needed to slow down, and you know, you get a bit long in tooth with it. I was getting to a stage where I just basically had enough for writing articles anyway. The magazine was going okay, but you know, it could have continued, but the sales went down when the internet came and social media. Everybody's on social media. The magazine were like slightly online. You're not getting the same volume of copies.
No, it's not the same, is it?
You go to magazine racks in W.H. Smith's back in the 80s in lunchtime, and everybody's reading magazines out of there. Then you'd walk into W.H. Smith's in the, let's say, 2015, 2016, and it'd be dead. No magazines being sold. It's basically sat there. So I don't know what was going on, to be quite honest.
Oh,
now everything's on Kindle. All right?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, they don't call it Kindle for nothing, do they? Because as soon as they turn that off, it's all gone. It's like they burnt them all.
That's true. Well, the thing is, with regards to that, I remember the time between like the late 80s and around the early 90s. Now, there was a place I used to go to quite a lot when I was competing and even doing some workshops and seminars. I think it was Shearwater. I remember I used to go up there and Shearwater, and absolutely amazing. And sort of the togetherness from all the different clubs and different styles. They were doing like seminars, catters, displays, workshops. And I'd never forget it. I'd have like a bit of pocket money with me, and my mum and my dad would say, "What the heck is that?" And I'd have my kit bag with all my stuff, like the semi-contact stuff, and you know, gum shield just in case, you know, I got like paid in or anything like that. So I was prepared, just making sure my teeth were intact. But when I'd cut on the way back, I'd have like this wad of magazines, and I remember there was one of them I've still got Yourself on the front of it when you're doing that kick, and I'll never forget it. I was like, oh. And I had, because I was with Spirit Combat International at the time with Cancho, Brian Dussett, and even being in his presence like yourself, it was quite funny because, you know, behind the scenes, what nobody realises, you know, as martial artists, everyone's got to have a laugh and sense of humour. And I'd always get these, like you said, it's not the same, the magazines, because now even I get, oh my goodness, I just get excited when I get even like the archives, you know, it's really in good condition, you know, where people have looked after it, you know, and they've gone back as like a book.
Mint conditions issues, which haven't even been like they're still in the little polythene bag when we used to bag them sometimes when we did a promotion. I've got, you know, some have gone. I've got rid of them to certain people ring me up and ask me if we got this copy and that copy, and some of them have gone. But I've still got some knocking about. If it gets really cold, you know what I mean, I might use them as fire to burn on the fire. By the way, the unsigned copies of the rare ones. There we are.
Ooh.
So anyway, so yeah, I don't know what you're going on about then. I've lost track of where we are.
Oh no, don't worry. We're on track. We're on track.
Older, you know, sometimes I lose things. I'm looking for them and I forget what I'm looking for.
Bless you.
While I'm
it's all right. Well, we'll let you off, Bob. You know, you've done your time when it comes to do all your grafting in the martial arts industry. So it's about time you had a rest, isn't it?
No, I don't rest. I teach every day.
Oh, that's good.
That's what I do, and you know, it keeps me a couple of classes a day. It's easy enough. I'm not teaching this week. I've got a week off, which is fantastic. Just to rest. I've been up in the hills. I was thinking about sleeping out this week, you know, sleeping in the woods at night, just have a sleep out. But the ground's a bit damp. And now it started raining, so I don't think that's going to happen this week. But that was the plan. Just get out on the hills for the night. But it's not. It's a bit damp. You know, when it's damp and cold, you can't do it. You know, it's not nice.
Do you play any instruments just like Paul Barnett?
Yes. What does Paul play?
Oh.
What he plays a trumpet, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Oh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Frequency. I've got a gong as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the only instrument I play. I'm not quite advanced enough to do the trumpet or guitar like Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix. Be good on the guitar, wasn't he? Is that Morgan Freeman? Is that Morgan Freeman? Are they the same person? I don't know. It looks a bit like Morgan Freeman, don't you think? Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yeah, no, Jimmy. Oh yeah, he could play the guitar with his teeth, apparently.
Morgan Freeman or Jimi
No,
Hendrix?
no, Jimi Hendrix at the time. Yeah, Morgan Freeman. Oh, speaking of Morgan Freeman, we were watching Bruce Almighty yesterday, so that was pretty funny with Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, I don't want any.
Oh, that's a pretty funny one.
I watch Rising Damp sometimes just to have a laugh, or, you know, on YouTube. But I don't have any, let's say, TV stuff happening. You know.
Fair enough. You know, you got a lot more things to do. Actually, as well, just to sort of, because I'm not trying to be random, but I'm trying to put out other questions in here without having to be too formal in order. Did you ever get bullied in your younger years? You know, before when you were able to sort of like, right, I need to defend myself a bit boxing.
Everybody got pushed about a bit, you know, not bullied, but you get a slap around head when you're at school off the older kids, or dandled down the stairwell. You know what I mean? They used to dandle us down the stairwell. It's like 4 stories high. You thought you were going to die. Flush your head down toilets, that sort of stuff. You'd be walking down steps and somebody kick you down, and you know that's normal. Now people have a meltdown when somebody says something bad about them. You know, times were a bit different, weren't they? I can remember, you know, the kids doing side kicks in platform shoes at me. You know what I mean? They've been to see Enter the Dragon, but I was still young, but they were a bit older, and so they practiced the side kicks on younger kids as it went fast with platform shoes. Had a bit extra reach on the kick, and because they had flares on, because flares were in fashion as well, they could kick higher. Like getting beaten up by a Bay City roller, you know what I mean? Oh, they're getting bullied. Oh, we all got bullied. You know, all got beaten up as a kid. That's what you do. When you get older, you're beating other kids up. Normal, isn't it?
Oh, God, wow. What is your favourite music? Do you have a favourite kind of music that you listen to?
I listen to a lot of classical now. I put classical music on and play chess online. But I've got hundreds of records. I was a punk rocker.
Wow.
Like the Buzzcocks and the Clash.
Yes.
All them. But then I realised that all the lyrics were written by the Tavistock Institute, so I sort of went off them all. You know, they're all part of the programming. So I thought, but I did like them at the time. I loved the Clash, the Buzzcocks, Sex Pistols a bit. They were okay, but the bit dodgy with that Malcolm McLaren were possibly a bit. I don't know. I used to like. Then got into rock. I liked a lot of rock, Deep Purple, and Iron Maiden, Saxon, all that stuff. So I got loads of records. I've got like maybe about 500 albums and about 2,000 singles lying around somewhere. They're all worth a load of money now, I bet, because you know, you know, it's like I'd have to go into my box room and get them all out. But now and again, I get a box of records now, put them and play a few records. I might actually start doing that and putting them on Facebook or something, playing for a laugh. Get done for copyright, don't you?
Oh, Bob. Oh, I love it. You know, I used to do the same thing, right? After a while, because I was doing something on Facebook, because I used to be part of volunteer. I was a volunteer for Chelmsford Community Radio. I was co-hosting with another guy called Mo Stone. You know, at the time, brilliant guy. Still doing it now, and I used to do it on a Wednesday morning, quite early hours, and I was known as the Wednesday Carew. And we'd go in, I'd do like traffic travel, a little bit of stories, do a bit of quizzes and stuff like that, old school stuff. And after I'd rolled the camera like we are now, we're talking, this is why I got the idea of doing a bit more filming, because I know there's a lot of interaction now with visual as well as listening, so I can extract.
Well, you do good with it, but carry on. Sorry, go on. Carry on.
No, that's fair enough. No, but you know, I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, in extracting, you know, what you can listen to and what you do visually, and then obviously there's a lot of people now where it's become more popular, where in regards to what you're listening to now, you can extract it, listen to what you're doing, and then even with the music. But because of the copyrights now, it is kind of a grey area sometimes. You have to be sort of be able to watch what you're putting on, and then they might sort of because they partially own what you're putting on, like with an LP
That's
or
why I've
music.
not so many songs, you know what I mean? In case you know, so you don't get done for copyright with the lyrics or anything, you know. Otherwise, I'd have sung some songs, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Do you still have anything there? And like I remember the time when we had, you know, it's so old school. It's like to have. I like retro things, you know, to remember by. I remember I used to have the cassette deck, where A and B on there, where you'd have certain type of music that you could record as well as the one
music on a gramophone.
Yeah, even now. Have you got an LP still?
With gramophone, you know, that was it. It's a gramophone, and like 78 records, and you had to turn them round yourself because we didn't have electric. We just had to turn the turntable round ourselves. Because we were listening to music before electricity, you know.
Oh, cool! Wow, I like that. Is regarded as retro now, isn't it? You know, one of those things where you could put in a record, turn it over, and you've got the bonus sort of thing on there on the B side, on there where you didn't realise you put it on there. It's usually just on one side, and then if you could flip it over, more extra songs on the flip side. I was like, yes,
yeah. We used to love going down to the record shop and getting the records. You know what was out. The Vapors, Turning Japanese, are one of my favourites.
Oh wow! You know, you've opened to things now, all the music stuff. I love that. And also, if you was to have the opportunity to travel anywhere now, where would you go to without any sort of commitments? Because obviously, in terms of what you're doing now,
I think Antarctica would be a good place.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, Antarctica. Yeah, definitely. How's that?
Oh, wow! You're gonna see the polar bears and penguins and that.
The penguins there. I bet there's all sorts there, but let's not go into that one.
Yeah, there probably is, Bob. I like that. There's probably all sorts. Yeah, we won't go into that. Oh dear. Oh dear. Also, what type of character would you play in a film if it was offered to you? Would you be a villain or would you be a mysterious hero in a martial art film?
I don't know. Would the martial arts be a musical?
A musical?
Musical, yeah.
Could be, yeah. Could be anything. Musical.
I'd want to be a singing villain. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Singing villain.
Yeah, sounds like a good one.
Yodeling. You have to be yodeling. You know, he could yodel it.
Yeah.
Like a Arts production.
Yeah.
A cross between Enter the Dragon and Mary Poppins.
God. I don't think they make many of those, though, Bob. You know, that could be a new thing that you've just brought out on there, because there's always a lot of other things that have been brought out in music, turned from films to musicals now. They haven't really done many of martial arts.
Been done. I can see why, because it'd been an absolute failure, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. The thing is, now this is a rumour, was Elvis Presley supposed to play a part in Enter the Dragon?
Wow.
What if he was, and how would it be? Would he have played Roper's part? And would have been going rock-a-hoola, rock-a-hoola while they were fighting in the last sort of scene with Bruce? Is it all about? I mean, if Elvis had been in that film, Enter the Dragon, it would have been 10 times better, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. It would have been brilliant. But apparently he was a bit too out of shape at the time, so I believe. But Elvis in Enter the Dragon, you imagine. In the 60s, it would have been, yeah, he was in good shape, was Elvis.
Wow.
I think he could still maybe pop a bit of Kempo out or something, couldn't he? But as he got older, I've seen that footage of him on stage and he's sort of struggling when he's doing him kick. But, you know, maybe if Elvis had been, was he supposed to have been in Enter the Dragon? I heard the rumour that he was, you know.
Wow.
I talked to a lot of top martial artists over the years. And I've got all that sort of, the stuff they're not allowed to say in magazines. I train with top martial artists, and I'd always say, show me something you don't show the people. So, get some little bits.
Wow.
The pieces of the puzzle.
Wow. Right, Bob, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up for you, because I know, as well I mentioned to the other, that because I know Paul Barnett, it's quite funny actually, because we probably watched
talk about the show. I've got to mention the show.
Yes, exactly.
Tell about the show. Who's coming to the show?
Yes, who what's the starting lineup in regards on the first day on the 6th of May, Bob?
See, you said you weren't going to ask me hard questions, didn't you? You said you weren't going to ask me curveballs. Give me curveballs. I think we've got Bill Wallace, Cynthia Rothrock, Matt Stats, that Bruce Lee lookalike. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yes.
And I think Scott Atkins going to be there. You are telling me.
Ooh.
Yes, I think I'm not sure. He normally is. So I think I don't know if he's or not, to be honest, Paul. But I mean, to come and get your picture with Bill Wallace, Cynthia, you know, are you coming? Are you coming to the show?
Yes, I'm coming to the show.
Okay, so you can give them you can put all the information up, can't you, on where to get the website and stuff. It's going to be good. Which I think, I don't know how many we've done there. Is this number 7? I don't know.
Goodness, wow.
I don't know how many we've done, to be honest.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot going on, isn't there?
And then we had that convict come along, and we couldn't have one for a couple of years, didn't we? So I think it's 7. I don't know. Maybe 6. I don't know. But yeah.
Wow. You know, I'm in regards to having this the organisation, you know, of the other martial artists. You know, you've got greats of like Bill Superfoot Wallace and Cynthia Rothrock, and now you've got Mark Stars. Now, how long does that process sort of take? I know Paul mentioned that there's a lot going on in the background. I know you probably witnessed this, where Paul, that he is back and forth like a yo-yo. You know, I've even sort of seen his artillery. He even showed me what he had, and I was like, wow, that's what he actually looked like when he showed me the.
Well, yeah, so I saw that. So I think he's just been scribbling about on a piece of paper. I don't understand what he's doing. This is mine. Let's have a look. There's not as much on mine, is there? That's my notes. He just, I don't know how he does it. He has it all up here. has it all up here now. If I was to say I had it all up here, it wouldn't be there, would it? I'd just be making that up. But Paul has it all up there, and he knows exactly what's happening. So I don't know how he does it. He's just a great promoter, organizer of events. He's an events organizer, and that's what he does. That's what he does, and he does it better than just about anybody. Let's be quite honest. As I said, we're not as big as Senai. We never wanted to compete with Senai. We just do a UK martial arts show once a year. Every time we get in there, Paul said, it's last one, I'm not doing this again. And I think that's last one, and Paul rings up, let's do another. I said, I'll do another. I just like to do the Hall of Fame, to be quite honest. But going to the UK martial arts show, it just hooks me up with everybody I used to know in the past when I did the magazine. And if the magazine does exist, it exists in the people at the show. So the magazine is still there. It's in the people at the show who come together for this event. So yeah, it's let's say it's incarnated into the martial artists. So,
that's fair enough.
It's like an advanced form of origami. You know?
Yes, it is.
Paper people.
It's a quick shout out on there. I know Mr. Scott Claire Hines, and there, that's his partner, and himself on the same sort of profile on there. That's what Scott Hines or Scott Hine. Yes, I am going to say hello. He said, "Oh, can't beat Chuck Norris." He said, "Did you meet Chuck Norris?"
Nobody can beat Chuck Norris, can they? Let's be honest. Let's have a think. Who could beat Chuck Norris? Let me think. Do you think Bruce did? Or Bruce beat him in Wave the Dragon? But nobody can beat him in Texas Walker
Ranger. That's it. Yeah.
What it was, Texas Walker Range. I never saw one of them.
That's it. Yeah. Well,
Wallace had beat Chuck Norris. So let's be quiet.
Oh.
Bill Wallace had beat Chuck Norris. Let's be honest. Bill's a proper full contact. We know.
Oh.
I wouldn't be able to beat Chuck Norris. You know, I can't beat anybody. So, Wallace. I mean, Bill Wallace is, let's say, he's the guy you want to get on there. Get Bill Wallace on. You know, speak to Paul. Actually, interview Bill at the show, can't you?
Yes. Yeah, it'd be great.
Of the modern era. Let's be quite honest. Who's done as much as he's done?
He's done a lot. Wow, I can't count.
He's still going now. He's had about 8 hip replacements, 10 knee replacements, and he's still teaching. He's still kicking. How does he do it? The guy's amazing. You know, Bill Wallace.
What would you say in terms of, just to sort of initially wrap this up, what would you say that your favourite martial art films in your lifetime that you've seen?
I hate martial arts films. Kentucky Fried Movie, that'll be a good one. One Arm Boxer, that was funny. That's about it. Couldn't watch any. I can't watch martial arts films. Can't watch film.
No.
Watch a film. I watched Braveheart the other day for the first time in don't know how many years, and I didn't get to the end of that. To be honest, I couldn't get to the end of it. Couldn't get to the end of it. So, what would be a good film? They Live was a good film. Yeah, that's a good film. That's worth watching. They Live. That's about it. I don't think you get to the end of that now. John Carson.
Oh, Bob, I'm loving this interview. It's so funny.
Yeah, you've going. I thought you were going.
I just wanted to wrap it up with the last question on there. You know what, Bob? Well, thank you very much, Bob.
Sykes. Finally got it going. Now you've got to show. I've got to interview certain people from the martial arts show. So I'll give you a shout, and you tell us it's going to download Zoom and do that, haven't I? Because I've been working off this phone. I've had an old laptop, and it wasn't working too well. So I got this for this show, so I could interview some people and give it a push from the UK Martial Arts Show page. Not got round to it yet, but I will get round to it. And I'll do it off the UK Martial Arts Show page.
No
maybe
problem.
Just, you know what I mean? Maybe it's not my bag. You're more the interviewer. You know, I'd fall asleep listening to them, to be quite honest. I don't know how you do it.
I've never had such a funny and great, honest interview in my entire life.
I thought, shall I just be myself? And I wonder which self is that. You know what I mean? So I've been good, I've behaved, so I've not upset anybody, I hope.
No, you haven't, Bob. You've been great. You know what? I feel really humbled and really honoured to actually have you on the Phil Carew Show 2.0. Just to make sure that everybody's aware that Bob and Paul Barnett, if you still wanting to get some tickets, feel free to click down the link after the show on here. Please feel free to comment, like, and share, and even subscribe here, because this is also live on 3 platforms, not just from Facebook Live, also on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. And check out the Phil Carew Show. And thank you very much. It's been a real honor.
It's been great. It's been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, keep up the great work. Because you know, the last interview you did, I enjoyed. I've not seen too many. I watched Paul's. You know, it's like you know, I'll flick back and look at some of the other interviews and just see how mine compares with it. I might even watch this one again. Who knows? And go, oh no, you didn't say. Oh.
Well, actually, on the last one, Paul.
On the show.
No problem. Paul actually said that you probably, after about 10 minutes in, that you might have actually fallen asleep.
I do sleep well. I can sleep for 14 hours. Straight through. Absolute. I love sleep. And then sometimes I don't sleep, but sometimes normally you can sleep good 12, 14 hours quite easily. But yes,
goodness.
Phil, you thank you very much for having me on the show and supporting the event. And I'll see you up at the show, and I'll sort out so you can do interviews on all these people. And some proper martial artists, some younger ones. Although Bill's older than me, isn't he? So I mean,
he's wearing his age well, isn't he, Bill? Bill Superfoot Wallace.
Absolutely, he's a legend. So anyway, I'll get off because I'm just mumbling now.
No, that's fine.
You take care and thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe on the Phil Carew Show. And thank you very much for Sensei Bob Sykes coming on to the Phil Carew Show 2.0. Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone.